Five.
In
Action.
action.
Action!
Hello and welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. U.S. President Donald Trump has claimed that a South Korean-operated cargo ship was attacked by Iran in the Strait of Hormuz earlier this week, after deciding to navigate the waterway alone, adding that ships guarded by the U.S. remain safe. Iran says it has imposed a new system to regulate ship transit through the Strait of Hormuz, warning only routes authorized by Tehran are safe, and that any deviation could trigger a decisive response. A shooting at a Koreatown north of Dallas, Texas, has left 2 people dead and 3 injured. The suspect, later identified as 69-year-old Han Song-ho, fled the scene but was arrested nearby. U.S. President Donald Trump has claimed that a South Korean-operated cargo ship was attacked by Iran in the Strait of Hormuz earlier this week, after deciding to navigate the waterway alone. The United States also announced the conclusion of its offensive campaign against Iran, but that the next phase, Project Freedom, would be paused, apparently due to ongoing negotiations. Our Lee Soo-jin has the details.
He's won 20.
U.S. President Donald Trump says a South Korean-operated cargo ship that reported an explosion in the Strait of Hormuz was attacked by Iran. Speaking at the White House on Tuesday, Trump said the vessel and other ships had been shot at by Iran after deciding to cross the critical waterway alone, adding that ships guarded by the U.S. remained safe. On the same day, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio officially announced that Operation Epic Fury, the offensive phase of the U.S. campaign that began in late February, is over.
Yeah, look, the Operation Epic Fury is concluded. Okay, we're now on to this Project of Freedom. Now, what's really important for you to report and for everyone to understand is this is not an offensive operation. This is a defensive operation.
However, later on Tuesday, Trump took to social media to say Project Freedom, which includes the U.S. military guiding ships through the Strait of Hormuz, would be paused for a short period. Citing a request from countries like Pakistan and great progress toward a final agreement with Iran, he said the movement of ships is being halted to see if a deal can be finalized and that the blockade of Iranian ports remains in full effect. The Pentagon also emphasized its expectation for U.S. allies to join the effort in the Strait's maritime safety.
We hope South Korea would step up, just like we hope Japan would step up, just like we hope Australia would step up. But the president was clear in his truth message that, hey, this is your ship. You should take part in helping to defend it.
According to experts, Trump's decision to put the brakes on a major defense project could signal that behind-the-scenes negotiations regarding an end to the war and denuclearization may be making significant progress. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News.
Iran has imposed new controls on ship transit through the Strait of Hormuz, warning vessels to follow routes authorized by Tehran or face a decisive response. The move comes as tensions escalate with the United States and the UAE trade accusations with Iran over reported missile and drone activity. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
Iran has introduced a new system to regulate ship movements through the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz, escalating tensions with the United States over control of the key waterway. According to Press TV on Tuesday, vessels seeking to transit the strait must now follow a framework set by Iran's Persian Gulf Strait Authority. Ships receive instructions via email and are required to comply before being granted a transit permit. The move comes as Iran tightens its grip on maritime traffic through the strait, a critical global energy corridor through which a significant portion of the world's oil supply passes. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Navy, has warned that only routes authorized by Tehran are considered safe, adding that any deviation could trigger what it called a decisive response. In a statement carried by Iran's Fars news agency on Tuesday, the IRGC Navy said vessels must use corridors previously designated by Iran and that unauthorized routes should be deemed unsafe. Meanwhile, regional tensions have intensified. The United Arab Emirates said its air defense systems intercepted multiple aerial threats originating from Iran. In a statement posted on X, the UAE Ministry of Defense said explosions heard across parts of the country were the result of intercepting ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones. However, Iran has denied carrying out any such attacks. State broadcaster Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting cited a military spokesman as saying no missile or drone operations had been launched against the UAE and dismissed the claims as baseless. The spokesman warned that any attack on Iran originating from UAE territory would be met with a decisive and forceful retaliation. He also accused the UAE of allowing U.S. and Israeli forces to operate from its soil, urging Emirati authorities not to become a base for what he described as hostile powers. 이승재, Arirang News.
Global oil prices fell overnight after posting sharp gains at the start of the week. With prices swinging sharply since the outbreak of war, the UAE announced last week that it's leaving OPEC, saying it wants to supply more oil than its OPEC quota allows, in a move that would potentially help push down prices once the Strait of Hormuz opens. For more on this and the domestic economy here in South Korea, we're joined today by Professor Bang Min-jung, professor at the Department of Business Administration at Kumo National Institute of Technology. Professor Bang, thanks for coming on today.
Hey, thank you for having me today.
So, 7 OPEC plus countries have agreed to increase oil production starting in June after the UAE said it would exit the group. So will this help bring down global oil prices?
Yeah, the recent decisions by several OPEC plus members to increase production may provide short-term relief to global oil prices by signaling their higher supply, especially amid uncertainty following UAE potential exit. However, the overall impact is likely to be limited. Oil prices are shaped not only by supply, but also by geopolitical risks, global demand, and economic conditions. In particular, tensions in the Middle East could offset any downward pressure from increased output. Moreover, the scale of the production increase may not be large enough to significantly shift market fundamentals. Markets may instead focus more on internal divisions within OPEC Plus, which could increase price volatility. In short, while this move helps stabilize prices in the short term, it is unlikely to lead to a sustained decline in global oil prices.
Right, and despite this Middle East conflict, Korea's exports actually surged last month, marking the second straight month that exports exceeded $80 billion. What do you make of this latest data?
Despite ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, Korea's export performance remains remarkably resilient. The fact that exports may exceed $8 billion for 2 consecutive months suggests that external demand, particularly in key sectors, is still holding on well. One important factor is that the strong recovery in high-value industries, such as semiconductors, which continue to Korea's export growth. In addition, diversified export markets and relatively stable global supply chains have helped to cushion the potential negative impact from regional conflicts. That said, we should be cautious about interpreting this trend as entirely sustainable. The Middle East remains a critical region for energy supply, and any escalation could lead to high oil prices, increased logistic costs, and broader inflationary pressures, all of which could eventually weigh on export competitiveness. So in short, while the current data reflects among momentum and structural resilience in Korea's export sector, the outlook still depends heavily on high geopolitical risks and global demand conditions evolve in the coming months.
Right, and in stock market, Korean stocks continue to rally, and the KOSPI actually surpassed 7,000 points this morning. SK hynix market cap has even passed a significant milestone, reaching 1 quadrillion Korean won last week, and that's about $680 billion. So how significant is this, and will this momentum continue?
Yeah, the rally in the Korean stock market nowadays, with the KOSPI now approaching 5,000 after rising more than 50% this year, is clearly significant. It reflects not just a cyclical rebound, but strong investor confidence in key sectors, particularly semiconductors and AI. The surge in SK hynix, which has recently surpassed the $1 trillion market cap level, highlights how AI-driven demand for high-performance memory in reshaping valuations. This aligns with a broader global trend where technology and AI-related firms are leading market gains. So the key issue is sustainability. Current valuations already reflect a high level of optimism, and factors such as global interest rates, U.S. monetary policy, and geopolitical risks could introduce volatility. So the sell-in-May effects also suggest some seasonal caution after such a sharp rally. So while the momentum is supported by strong fundamentals, the pace is likely to be moderated.
I see. And before I let you go, Samsung Electronics labor union has been protesting over a significant pay gap compared to its rival SK hynix, and has been threatening to go on strike later this month. But with internal divisions within the union appear to be intensifying ahead of the planned strike, and some warn that even a single strike causing production disruptions could take years to recover from. What's your take on this?
The situation nowadays in Samsung Electronics is becoming more complex, not just because of the potential strike, but also due to growing internal tensions within the union itself. Reports on members leaving the union arguing that it focuses too much on semiconductor workers highlight a deepening internal conflict. At the same time, the union's concerns about pay disparities with SK hynix are understandable, especially given SK hynix's strong performance driven by AI-related memory demand. However, these internal divisions suggest that there is no unified position, which may reduce the likelihood of a full-scale strike. So even the possibility of a strike carries serious risks. Some estimates suggest that if a full strike materializes, operating profit could fall by around 10%, and DRAM supply could face disruptions. So in the semiconductor industry, even small disruptions can lead to a delayed supply, lower output, and long-term damage to customer trust. So from a broader perspective, these issues goes beyond labor relations. It directly affects Korea's position in the global semiconductor supply chain. So if disruptions occur, competitors, particularly in the US or Taiwan, could take advantage of gain market share. So internal conflicts may prevent a total strike. The underlying these tensions are real, and even limited disruptions could have meaningful strategic consequences.
I see. I guess we'll have to see how that goes. All right, Professor Park, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Korea's benchmark KOSPI broke through the 7,000 mark for the first time ever this morning. The index opened more than 2% higher at 7,093.01 and at 1 point surged into the 7,300 range shortly after the opening bell. The breakthrough came just over 2 months after the KOSPI first crossed the 6,000 level in late February. Strong buy momentum also triggered a buy-side sidecar soon after the open, halting buy orders for 5 minutes. Market heavyweights Samsung Electronics and SK hynix were among the main drivers behind the gains. Korea's consumer prices rose 2.6% on-year in April, driven by soaring fuel costs. The Ministry of Data and Statistics said on Wednesday that the consumer price index for April rose 2.6% from a year earlier. On a monthly basis, prices increased 0.5%, while the annual inflation rate saw its sharpest increase in 21 months. Petroleum prices led the overall rise in inflation, surging 21.9% and more than doubling the pace of increase from the previous month. Meanwhile, agricultural, livestock, and fisheries prices fell 0.5%, while service prices climbed 2.4%. A shooting at a Koreatown in Texas has left 2 people dead and 3 injured. According to the Associated Press, the incident occurred on Tuesday at the K-Town Plaza in Carrollton, north of Dallas. The suspect fled but was arrested nearby. Authorities identified him as 69-year-old Han Sung-ho. Police Chief Roberto Arredondo said the shooting was not random, adding the suspect and victims likely had a business relationship gone bad. Carrollton is located about 32 kilometers from Dallas and has an estimated 4,000 Korean residents. Addressing challenges faced by Korean businesses amid the Middle East conflict, an event was held in Chungnam province to help smaller businesses break into global markets. Our Kim So-young tells us more.
Korean companies and overseas buyers meet face-to-face for in-depth talks. From red ginseng to seaweed, local firms highlight the quality and value of Korean products. This event, Chungnam Global Business Matching, aims to help smaller businesses break into global markets. A total of 250 local companies took part in one-on-one meetings, showcasing a wide range of products. For businesses hit by rising cost and global uncertainty, the event offered a cost-effective way to connect with new buyers.
With rising oil prices and a sluggish local economy, things have been very tough for us. But having overseas buyers brought here, it's been a huge help.
Organizers analyzed buyer demand, hired professional interpreters, and expert consultant to help facilitate deals. On the first day alone, export agreements worth around $34 million were signed. Follow-up support will continue even after the event to help these consultations into finalized contracts.
The first meeting is crucial. It's where trust begins. Once that foundation is built, it can lead to continued export opportunities.
Chungnam province plans to hold another event later this year to further support local exporters. Kim So-young, Arirang News.
In an age dominated by screens where smartphones are a constant presence in young lives, a different scene is unfolding at local libraries. Our Chung Il-ri met with children rediscovering the joy of reading.
Growing up with a tablet in their hands, children today may be more familiar with a screen than paper. But as bite-sized content dominates their attention, experts emphasize that physical books are more important than ever. Here at the National Library for Children and Young Adults, the soft sound of turning pages fills the cozy atmosphere. These children are learning that true literacy, the ability to understand context and think critically, begins with the turn of a page.
All books have different illustrations, and that's really interesting to see. I like mystery and detective books because it feels like a real event that happened.
Unlike digital screens that provide instant visuals, physical books require children to build the world themselves. Connecting with the characters with their imagination, this mental immersion also fosters deeper empathy as they learn to walk in a character's shoes one page at a time.
I like the cream puff cookie character. She's very gentle and always helps others.
Specialized libraries like this one in Songpa-gu district act as literacy playgrounds. The easygoing atmosphere makes books accessible and fun. Children can simply pick a book they like and start reading wherever. Today's children are digital natives, but in a world of instant swipes, young readers are still finding joy in the simple act of turning a page. The focus is on making reading a habit. This type of focused reading acts as a workout for the brain, helping kids improve their attention span in a world full of digital distractions.
I like books that come out as series. You can read them anytime, even during short breaks. And books are fun even when you read them again, but TV shows aren't as fun the second time.
Even complex history becomes an exciting discovery when it's found at one's own pace. For Ujin, his library hours are spent exploring the legends of the past.
I am reading a book about Admiral Yi Sun-shin.
As Korea celebrates Children's Day, these young readers remind us that even in a world where content is becoming shorter and louder, the magic of books continues to endure. 정혜림, Arirang News.
Good morning, I'm Chu Ji-hyun, and this is The World Now. The World Health Organization now suspects the deadly hantavirus spreading aboard a luxury cruise ship in the Atlantic may have passed from person to person. Such transmission is a rare development for a disease that normally spreads only through infected rodents. 7 cases in total have been confirmed or suspected. Of the 7, 3 people have died, a Dutch couple and a German national. Also, a British passenger evacuated from the vessel is in intensive care in South Africa, and 2 crew members require urgent medical attention. The Dutch flagged ship MV Hondius is currently moored off Cape Verde, which has refused to allow the remaining 150 passengers ashore. 2 medical evacuation planes are now reportedly en route. Meanwhile, the Spanish Health Ministry confirmed on Tuesday it will receive the ship in the Canary Islands, quote, in accordance with the international law and humanitarian principles. In Ukraine, Russian strikes killed at least 27 people across the country's east on Tuesday, hours before a Ukrainian ceasefire proposal was set to take effect at midnight. The worst attack killed 12 in the city of Zaporizhia. Ukraine had called for an open-ended halt to fighting starting at midnight, urging Russia to follow. Russia instead announced only a brief pause for May 9th and 9th, to coincide with its World War II victory commemorations in Moscow. President Vladimir Zelensky rejected Moscow's proposal, saying that Russia just wanted a pause for its military parade while still pounding Ukraine with missiles and drones. In Colombia, a gas explosion at a coal mine on Monday killed 9 workers and injured 6. The explosion came just weeks after safety inspectors had flagged a dangerous buildup of gases, including methane, at the same site. The blast struck at least 600 meters underground at a legally operated mine in the Sutatosa municipality, 72 kilometers north of Bogota. The National Mining Agency said it had recommended safety improvements during an April inspection, but the warnings had been ignored. In the U.S., stars turned up barely unrecognizable at Monday's Met Gala in New York. Beyoncé made her first Met Gala appearance in 10 years as one of its co-chairs. Bad Bunny disguised himself as an elderly man. Heidi Klum turned up as the Statue of Liberty, and Madonna arrived with a ship on her head. Outside the gala, protesters held signs spelling out "Tax the Rich," targeting Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, who sponsored the event for the first time. Bezos donated a reported $10 million to the event, which led to calls for a boycott over wealth inequality and workers' rights.
The weather for Children's Day yesterday was nearly perfect for spending some time outdoors. And Wednesday began breezy this morning, but temperatures will climb rapidly as we head into the afternoon. And we're talking a 15 degrees Celsius gap between morning and the afternoon today. And for today, the sky will remain mostly clear, which means you'll be basking in some very intense UV rays with high ozone concentrations as well. Sunscreen is definitely recommended if you're spending time outdoors. And this afternoon, Seoul will be getting up to 24 degrees Celsius. Daegu at 26 degrees. Air quality will be clean nationwide all day today. Tomorrow's spotty rain in central areas will bring relief from today's warmth. After the rain clears, we'll see temperature begin climbing again. And this weekend looks like being beautiful with clear, mild spring weather in the forecast. Perfect timing for outdoor plans. That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at noon Korea time. Thanks for watching.
A country where traditional and modern cultures coexist.
Where you can explore spectacular landscapes and nature.
Savor the delights of traveling at every turn.
Where? Korea, of course.
There are some must-visit places in Korea. Ones that appear in every tour guidebook: Hangang River, Gyeongbokgung Palace from the Joseon Dynasty, and
Yes, these are essentials, but I want to go somewhere a little different. I don't have to follow the guidebook. For example, filming locations for K-pop music videos or K-dramas and movies.
traveling is all about taking it slow. A long walk at your own pace, or even zoning out somewhere quiet. Doesn't it sound relaxing?
You travel for the experience, trying something new in a foreign place, de-stressing and making lifetime memories, taking tons of pictures along the way.
70% of the Korean territory is mountainous. Naturally, hiking is a very popular pastime in Korea. Not your kind of activity? Trust me, the view will make the effort worth it. Just catch your breath by the cold stream in the valley.
Korea is surrounded by the sea on three sides. From the beach, you can enjoy a wide open view as well as various water activities. But the riverside is great too. There's plenty to see and do.
If you're in Korea, you can't miss the night view full of dazzling lights.
Yes, even the same place can have a totally different vibe at night.
Want to make unforgettable memories?
How about traveling to all corners of Korea? Join us next time to explore more about Korean culture.
자꾸 시끄럽게 우는 10번째 알람을 끄고서 몸을 일으켜 두 다리를 끌어 거울 앞에서 모습은 답이 없어 어깨를 숙여 차물로 날 씻어 피부를 문질러 불만을 다 잊어 이제야 좀 살 것 같다 싶었는데 자꾸 누가 쳐다보네 느슨하게 비친 내 얼굴 왜 맘대로 안 될까 맘대로 못할까 맘대로 못 살까 나의 맘대로만 될까 맘대로 믿을까 어떤 날의 하루도 완벽한 적 없고 어떤 날의 하루도 이긴 적 없었네 기뻤던 우리의 상처를 잊을 순 없지만 짧은 손금에 새겨진
The Korean wave is drawing more fans from all over the world. Local consumer prices continue to hover at the 2% cent rate in April. Turning to robots to allow the visually impaired the chance to better indulge in cultural experiences. Like the number of hybrid cars are registered in South Korea has surpassed 2 million with this locally developed Yuri rocket.
Arirang.
We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Wednesday, May 6th here in Seoul. I'm Isujin, and this is News Generation. And joining us today for the first time is Majid.
So good to be here. Thank you.
Good to have you, and also Kyung's with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's the middle of the work week, and as we come off of Children's Day here in Korea, what better way to keep the festive mood going than by exploring some of Seoul's hottest spots. But before we get into that, let's meet our newest panelist, Majid. So you might recognize him from our Zoom interviews, but this is his first time joining us in the studio. So welcome, Majid. So before we start, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Thank you so much for having me. Like I always say, just like BTS new album Arirang, I have a special place for Arirang in my heart. So thank you so much for having me. Hi everyone, I'm Majid. 안녕하세요, namaste, ni hao, bonjour, kamusta. I'm a travel creator based in Seoul, and I have been living in Korea for 10 years. I love telling my love, sharing my love for Korea, Korean culture, K-food, K-pop, and basically everything K with my online family of 600K across both Instagram and YouTube. It's so good to be here and so good to see you guys in person. Thank you so much.
600K is very impressive, so we're really honored to have you with us today. So like I briefly mentioned, today we're talking about the best places to visit in Seoul. And the weather in Korea right now is just perfect for traveling. So I'm curious about our panelists' traveling style. So Kyung, do you prefer waking up early to hit all the must-see spots or taking it easy on a more kind of relaxed, laid-back getaway?
I tend to be the more relaxed type when it comes to traveling because knowing, I have to wait in line for ages and ages if I go to those, famous spots. But look, part of traveling is to visit those kind of favorite spots. But for me, I think I'd rather save that time to probably go to like the second most popular or even the third most popular restaurants or must visit places and just use that time to just really relax, because I mean, for me, traveling is all about relaxing and planning ahead, you know, going where, like just everything beforehand can become a source of stress for me. So I like to be things a bit more closer to impromptu. But of course, visiting these like hotspots is important for me. But you know, these days we have AI where it can become like our travel agency, like personalized. So just by writing down a few things like your budget, your travel date, location, it will give you a whole list of things you can actually visit and to save time. So I guess I'm looking forward to my next trip using AI, because it's been like a couple of years since I actually last traveled. So yeah, I mean, with AI, hopefully travel can save a lot of time and just increase the level of, I guess, enjoyment at the same time.
Right. I mean, apparently they like tell you the exact schedule,
they do,
day by day,
they do.
hour by hour. That's what
in
you
detail
ask.
as well.
So
Yeah.
That's, yeah. Let us know how that goes.
Okay, I will do.
What about you, Majid?
So I used to be the kind of guy who would wake up early in the morning at 5 a.m. to take the best spots and all the good, you know, top famous spots of that place, of that city. But now I guess I'm more like Gihon. I just want to go with the flow. I would, just see one or top 2 famous spots in the city, and then I would go there and feel relaxed. And I feel like there are 2 reasons behind that. First, maybe me and Gihon, we are getting older. And secondly, I would say like Seoul has kind of made me like that, because in Seoul, there are so many things that you stumble into, that you come across even while randomly walking on the street, so maybe one day you are just randomly walking and you find a really beautiful rooftop bar. Maybe you meet a very nice Ajuma who is selling the best hot dog in the city. So these days I just go with the flow, and I keep on finding and coming across all the nice beautiful spots in the city.
That's a great segue back to Seoul, because that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the best places to visit in Seoul. So before we talk about this, let's take a look at the screen.
With the continued popularity of all things Korean, from music and films to books, Korea's quickly become a must-visit destination. And as more travelers arrive, lesser-known neighborhoods across Seoul are gaining attention, spreading rapidly through social media. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at how young global travelers are exploring Seoul, the must-see events happening this May, and the must-try foods you can't miss when visiting the city.
Just as we saw in the video, Seoul is drawing more global attention than ever. So let's start with the bigger picture. So have foreign visitors to Korea increased recently, Kyun?
Yes, it certainly has. So let's take a look at the screen for more details. Now, according to the Korea Tourism Organization, the number of foreign visitors to South Korea increased from 3.87 million to 4.76 million. So 3.87 million was in the first quarter of 2025, and it increased by 23% in the first quarter of 2026. And by looking at monthly figures, looking at March alone, over 2 million foreign tourists visited Korea, setting a new monthly record. And a catalyst behind this surge in number is obviously it was the full group comeback of BTS that was also live streamed on Netflix over 80 countries, which was held at the heart of Gwanghwamun Square. I was there too, and I was so surprised to see so many different foreigners in just one single place here in Seoul. And I'm sure Majid was there as well. But for me, it was just an incredible just seeing so many foreigners in front of my eyes, and I thought I was in a different country for a moment, but then until BTS came back. But I actually had the chance to ask many of the visitors why they came to Korea. Was it because of BTS? They did say it was partly because of BTS, but they also said they actually wanted to travel to Korea to get to know more about the culture and the food, which was another great thing to hear about. Now, despite the economic instability caused by the Middle East conflict and the continued global popularity of K-culture, backed by sustained efforts from the tourism industry, clearly shows Korea is a must-visit country among many global travelers.
So, I mean, that is a very significant jump, and it really shows how strong the momentum is. And naturally, much of that attention is centered on the capital. So what makes Seoul stand out as the top travel destination today, Majid?
Well, it's so good to see after seeing the stats that a lot of people are actually coming to Seoul. Before that, I would also like to share a few stats. Do you guys know that Seoul has been named the best leisure city in Asia for 2 consecutive years by Global Traveler, and last year it was also ranked as the best city for solo travelers. And this year it has been named as the best city by Time Out as a most walkable city in the world. So Seoul is definitely getting a lot of popularity, and a lot of people, a lot of travelers all over the world are coming to Seoul. And I would say there are a few reasons. First of all, the transportation here is very convenient, is very safe. With just $30, you can travel almost unlimited using subway and buses within Seoul. I would say the unique blend of culture, history, and technology, the blend of history and also the modern life, it's also one of the reasons. People can do a lot of things here, and there are so many, I would say, so many events going on, so many festivals going on, so people can never get bored in this city. So all of these reasons make it one of the best cities and one of the hot travel spots all over the world.
Right, so those recognitions really highlight Seoul's growing global appeal. But beyond the titles, there's also a personal side to this. So Majid, you're obviously a travel creator, so what makes Seoul especially special to you?
Well, I always say that if Seoul was a lady, I would have proposed her by now because I love this city so much. You can never get bored here. There are so many events going on, so many festivals going on. So one of the things that I love about this city is that you can never get bored. So it does not matter what time of the year, what time of the week you come here, there will always be something going on. For example, in spring, we have Cherry Blossom Festival. We also have Seoul Spring Festa. We also have, in May, for example, we are also having Seoul Jazz Festival. In summer, we will have Seoul Drum Festival, Jamsugyo Bridge Festival, a lot of festivals going on. In autumn, I would say we have Firework Festival. And then in winter, we have the Seoul Lantern Festival. So it does not matter what time of the year you always have, it does not matter what time of the year you come to Seoul, you always find something to enjoy. And that's what I love about Seoul.
I can really feel your excitement is truly contagious.
I love this city.
So that first-hand perspective really brings Seoul to life, and travel styles themselves are also evolving as well. So what are the new travel trends among young foreign visitors, Kyun?
Recently, there's been a surge in demand from young foreign visitors to actually pursue a live like a local travel style, where visitors move just beyond simply visiting those well-known famous touristy spots, and to actually live and choose to experience how the locals actually live in Korea, like locals just like you and me, Sujin. And this was thanks to obviously YouTube and social media, where just information has become so easily accessible from, I guess, content creators like Majid, who actually go around Seoul beyond just those main touristy well-known spots into like these little alleyways where only the locals know, and it's called the hidden 맛집, like those really nice restaurants that you don't really see on those well-known travel websites and things like that. So furthermore, the Seoul Tourism Organization also announced the 2026 Seoul Tourism Trend under the word vitality, referring to a new form of tourism in which travelers directly experience a city's energy and actually become part of that vitality.
So what's really funny about that living like a local trend is that's how I started to get my recommendations, like how what tourists tend to visit on social media. So they would upload like different reels and stuff, and they'd be like, these are like the hidden local restaurants, and oh, that actually looks quite good, and that inspires me to want to.
So it's like it's become a two-way thing. Like we learn from foreigners coming to Korea, they find these new hot spots, and like we share our own kind of local spots, and vice versa. So I think it's a great way to kind of like communicate with a lot of travelers coming to Korea, and all thanks to, I guess, social media. So it has its ups and downs. Social media has its ups and downs, but I'm glad that we have people like Majid who share great things about Korea that I didn't know about.
So Majid, as a travel creator, so what are the everyday spots in Seoul that are gaining so much popularity?
Well, I feel like we need a whole separate program for that because there are a lot of places that I really want to talk about, and a lot of, like Gihun was saying, there are a lot of hidden gems and people, especially travelers, are finding out now, and the trend is also being changed. Like they want to live and experience what locals experience in the city. I would say, like for me, some of the top places that I really want to recommend are, first one is Cheonggyecheon. So Cheonggyecheon stream is next to Uljiro Ibgu station. That's a beautiful stream over there, and especially these days they have a Seoul outdoor library going on. So if you guys are in Seoul, make sure to visit Cheonggyecheon stream and enjoy and reading a book or sitting next to the water stream. I would also say Seoul Han River Hangang Park, both in Yeouido Hangang Park and also in Tuksam Hangang Park. And I see a lot of people, actually couples with family members with kids, they are actually going there having a wonderful time, especially because of the Seoul Spring Festa. On weekend, it was jam-packed. I know it's not a hidden spot, but still, it's a perfect spot to escape the hustle and bustle of the city. I would also like to say Jongno Samgao. It's also these days gaining a lot of popularity. I know Hongdae, Myeongdong are always have been popular, but Jongno Samgao these days and Songsu is really getting a lot of popularity these days. So if you guys are in Korea, if you guys are coming to Seoul, make sure to visit Songsu-dong if you want to get a lot of freebies, and Jongno Samga if you want to hang out with your friends late at night.
So it is fascinating to see how everyday spaces are becoming must-visit spots, and it really shows how Seoul's charm lies in both its landmarks and also its daily life. And that's what we also wanted to hear directly from our viewers. So we ran a poll on the Arirang News YouTube channel asking what kind of leisure activity would you want to experience in Seoul? And here's what the results showed. So nearly half of respondents, 46%, chose running or taking a walk along Hangang Park. Another 31% said they'd like to try local hidden restaurants, while 13% prefer shopping in trendy areas like Songsu-dong or Hongdae. Meanwhile, 10% opted for going hiking, showing a smaller but notable interest in outdoor activities beyond the city center. So the results are quite telling. Nearly half choosing Hangang shows how much people truly value the simple everyday experiences, while a strong interest in hidden restaurants suggests visitors are truly looking to go beyond the typical tourist spots. And to get a more in-depth perspective, we're going to talk with someone who loves visiting Seoul. And that conversation is coming up right after break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Clarice, who visits Korea more than anywhere else and is planning another trip to Korea this June. So hello, Clarice. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hi, guys. I'm so happy to be on the show. Thank you for inviting me.
So happy to have you on as well. So, Clarice, what first brought you to Korea and how often do you visit?
Yeah, so it was actually a fun story because I've been wanting to visit Korea for such a long time, since I have Korean friends that I met there. Korean friends that I met during university here, and they're living there. So, but I was able to visit Korea finally last year because I attended like a live concert dance event that was televised as well. And ever since, I've been to Korea like 3 times now since September 2025 last year, and going forth next month for BTS Busan concert. So yeah, I super love Korea.
So, Clarice, I hope you will have a wonderful time at the BTS concert. By the way, what makes you want to come back to Korea, and what, especially in Seoul, what do you mostly do here?
So when I go to Korea, it's actually like mix of going to concerts and really diving into the Korean culture and how you guys live there. So like visiting Hangang Parks, as you mentioned earlier, and of course the hottest place right now, the Brooklyn of Seoul, as they say, the Songsu. So that's actually the first. So when I first visited last year, that's the area that I actually lived or stayed. So every day I would go to like different shops and that get different freebies, and then try a lot of like skincare. So it was such an amazing experience for me. And I must say, because I work in the digital marketing space, so the pop-ups in Songsu are like so beautiful that the experience is so immersive for buyers as well, for customers like us, and especially for foreigners like me. And then actually for Hanggang Park, the first one that I went to was actually Tuksom Hanggang Park because that's actually the recommendation of my Korean friend. And I'm so glad that I went there because majority were like locals and then a lots of like busking. So it was such a memorable experience for me, like literally out of a K-drama scene. So yeah, and then just eating a lot of like ramen as well. So yeah.
Okay, wow, wonderful. Is there actually one place, food, or even a festival you would like to recommend to people visiting Korea for the first time?
Yeah, I actually do. So recently I've been to Jinhae Cherry Blossom Festival in Busan. So the funny thing is that my Korean friends didn't know about Jinhae Festival, which is I was actually shocked. So when I went to Jinhae Festival, it was very beautiful. There's a lot of cherry blossom trees and 360,000 cherry blossom trees in that area. So if anyone wants to visit Korea and wants to really experience cherry blossom with like full bloom and everything, of course Seoul is very beautiful too as well, but like it was such a very different experience for me, like witnessing around 360,000 trees, cherry blossom trees. So I would highly recommend that. And then of course for the food, if they're visiting Busan as well, I would recommend Veggie Gukbap, the pork rice. So yeah, I really love there. And then of course, lastly, on top of my list is like going to a Korean spa. So yeah.
I mean, these are all great recommendations. So I hope you have another great time when you visit Korea again in June.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for
you.
joining us today.
Thank you.
So we just spoke with a frequent visitor to Seoul about her favorite travel spots, what keeps her coming back, and a food or festival she'd recommend to people visiting Korea for the first time. Now let's take a look at what visitors can actually experience on the ground. So what events can visitors enjoy in Seoul this May, Kyun?
There are actually a lot of things you can do at Han River Park, especially in Jamsil under the Jamsil Bridge. The 2026 car-free Jamsugyo Tubok Festival kicked up in late April that runs through June 14 every Sunday, where traffic is completely restricted, as you can see on the screen, allowing people to stroll freely across the bridge to really indulge the Han River view with like the waterfall shooting out from the bridge as well. The festival offers plenty of activities, including street food trucks, performances, parades, topped with yacht, kayak experiences, river cruises, and even water picnics. And if you actually travel further down to the Tuksom Han River that we were just talking about, there's the Seoul Hangang drone light show that you can actually watch for free. But if you want to find out the exact details and the locations, please check out the official Seoul Metropolitan Government website.
Just look at the footage makes it clear that there's a lot to look forward to. So what are some other major events?
Two of the major events that I really want to talk about. First one is Seoul International Garden Show. Now Seoul International Garden Show runs from May 1st and until October 27th. So it's not running just for 1 month or 2 months, for 6 months, for almost 180 days. So if you guys are in Korea, make sure to attend Seoul International Garden Show, and it is happening at Seoul Forest and also Seongsu-dong area and until the Tuksom Hangang Park. Second one, if you guys are in Korea, make sure to visit Dongdaemun Design Plaza this weekend, because we are having Seoul Friendship Festival from May 9 until May 10th. And there will be a lot of embassies, almost 75 countries are participating. You can actually try and eat different cuisines of different countries. And not only that, you can also enjoy some of the festivals, some of the traditions of different countries that are participating in this festival.
Right, so those events really highlight Seoul's vibrant and diverse culture. And of course, no trip is complete without the foods or the must-try foods for visitors that are coming to Seoul.
Well, I would say if you guys still want to be in that trend, I would say butter talk. I'm sure you guys have tried it, right?
Right.
So butter talk is one of the things I would say you guys must try. Dubai Dojunku, right?
Yep.
Sorry for my pronunciation, but Dubai chewy cookie is also a great thing to try. I would say bingsu because summer is coming up, so bingsu, pat bingsu, red bean bingsu is great. Then I would say if you guys like spicy food, jimdak and takgalbi are must-try Korean foods.
And some of my favorites too. So what are your recommendations, Kim?
If you're hanging around the Han River, you should try Hangang Ramyeon, which is basically ramyeon, but it's a different style of ramyeon because it's different to the traditional way of cooking, and it just tastes better for some reason. Perhaps because you're outdoors, you have the Hangang view in front of you. My personal favorite is 물냉면, which is a cold buckwheat noodle topped with suyuk, which is boiled sliced pork. And if you are, I guess, a drinker as well, you can top it off with makgeolli, which is a Korean rice wine. Now, if you want to feel a little guilty, you should definitely try gopchang, which is pig or even beef small intestines. Now, it may sound a little odd just by looking at the words, but it tastes beautiful. It's actually juicy. It's a little fatty as well, but then for that moment, you want to forget about going on a diet because it is absolutely delicious.
So Seoul continues to evolve, blending global trends with its own unique rhythm. From riverside strolls to hidden eats and vibrant festivals, there's always something new to discover. And however you choose to explore it, Seoul proves it's a city you want to come back to. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Majid.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun.
And also Kyun.
Always a pleasure.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this will inspire you to visit Seoul before your algorithm does. We are News Generation.